getting antsy. He wants to watch the footballs.
Recording is already going, so whenever you're ready.
Okay. Oh, so recording's already going, is it, Keith?
It always
Thank
is.
you for telling me.
When is it not when I'm at charge?
Yeah, well, okay. Anyway, hello everybody and welcome to WCCF Tech Podcasty Show. And as always, we're joined by Keith.
Hello everyone.
And Alessio.
Hi.
There he goes. And we're also joined, and it's twice in a row now. Well, it's getting scary. He's showing up. Kai.
Yeah, I'm actually building the home office so I can actually show up more.
Good job. Good job.
Well done. Well done. And there he is with all his alcoholic beverages.
So, just great vodka.
Yes, exactly. So we've got a few topics on today, as always. We're going to be talking about the Hideo Kojimas. We're going to be talking about a potential revival of Dead Space, or some other IP, but possibly Dead Space, which they're going to fuck up, but more on that later. Battlefield 2042, and then something about AMD, which I should be interested in because AMD, screw your trade racing. And then that's it. So, where would you like to start, Alessio? You can pick the first topic.
Well, I'd say let's go with Kojima.
Hideo Kojima. Go on, tell us about Hideo.
Well, there have been rumors for a while now that he's working on a cloud-native game, and seemingly that's going to be kind of a twist for him because apparently he will be partnering with Xbox, and interestingly, Microsoft officially announced that they are hiring Kim Swift, which not sure if you know, but she was one of the developers behind games like Portal and Left 4 Dead. And at Valve, and then she jumped on to Stadia, but of course, as Chris is glad to remind us, that ship is kind of sinking. So basically, she's now on Xbox doing a cloud-native game. So
I'm not glad to remind you. It's just that I like to say I told you so, and I do think streaming and cloud computing is a good thing. It's just that the infrastructure's still not here, not for it to really be successful as a standalone. And also, Google have got the staying power of, like, oh, fuck knows. Google abandoning something is about as rare as the sun rising.
Isn't that the truth?
That's
true. It's not. I don't take pride in it. I just like being right. Oh, no. Go on anyway.
So yeah, the speculation is that she might be working with Kojima on this mysterious game.
That is a power duo.
So yeah, and that's kind of at odds with the other big speculation surrounding Kojima that he might have something to do with the abandoned game, kind of an horror adventure game for PS5. But
didn't they recently come out? Didn't the developers recently come out and say like Kojima's got nothing to do with this? Though I'm not sure, or am I imagining that?
Way over his head. Like he's saying that fans are speculating too much, but he's the one giving them the breadcrumbs to go with in the first place.
Yeah, I wonder if he's playing a bit of a game with people.
That's weird.
Oh, absolutely, especially with hey, we're gonna release our trailer yesterday, and then 30 minutes before the lead up, announce that it's delayed until August.
What? I missed that.
Yeah, you've got to wait until August to check out the gameplay reveal for Abandoned.
Just a second. So June, July, August. So you're telling me now a trailer's been delayed 2 months?
Well, it's an interactive trailer.
Is that like where it has a play and pause button?
It's getting. I'm going to say it's getting complicated now. It's getting complicated.
So kind of like a Bandersnatch.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
don't know. Like, it almost sounds like it's a. I don't want to use the word playable teaser, given the implications there, but
Just
kinda
a
sounds like what
second.
it's leaning
If
toward.
wait, an interactive trailer / playable teaser. There's a name for them. They're called demos.
Yeah.
Do you remember those things?
That
Demos.
sounds like the one Resident Evil Village did.
Games industry? Demo. Demo. You know, where people can play a game before they buy it, so they know if it's good. Then again,
they can demonstrate the game mechanics.
I
And
know.
yeah.
But then again,
Anyway.
that means that people actually getting their hands on with the game without somebody being hired by Ubisoft to go, right, we're going to go around this corner. Team 6, have you got this lined up?
Oh.
Shut up, you pricks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I've heard that they pretty much downplayed Kojima, but then it's so if what you're saying is right, Kai, they're like downplaying it and then essentially like wearing a Hideo Kojima mask the next day.
Pretty much. Like, this is a whole.
Okay.
Oh God, wasn't that name of the studio that he revealed? Moby Dick Studios all over again.
Mm,
Okay.
yes.
So it could be interesting. So I mean, Kojima, as far as I'm aware, like most like the heads of studios or whatever, he's not really going to be the hands-on with the coding and everything else. So he's just the visionary. He will be quite involved, but I doubt he's gone.
I'm gonna say something that might prove to be controversial, but perhaps he's a bit of a Japanese Peter Molyneux.
Yeah. To be fair, I've not known him lie yet, but yeah, he does. As I say, I've not known him lie, but possibly. It depends how overpromising. I think he's got that. He still holds quite a lot of trust with people because he's always released quality. And I mean, he was even involved in like the Castlevania. Like part of the reason why the Castlevania games, the ones made by what's the
Mercury
Spanish
Stream.
studio? Mercury Stream. So Hideo Kojima was actually involved in them getting the right to develop the first one. So, and he didn't have any real input into the game. He just kept a bit of a, contact me if you need anything. And yeah, know what? He's got a lot of trust, Kojima, and if he is got a bit of a play in abandon, that could be quite interesting, especially after everybody saw like Silent Hills, that little then again, it was that. Now we're going back into the demo thing. Was that a demo or like a playable teaser? I'm
I mean, that's
confused.
what the name was
PT?
PT.
Yeah.
I know. PT playable teaser, but isn't that just a demo? I'm confused. I don't
No.
see what happened to just having Tetris. Games are so complicated now.
The Tetris was Tetris. You didn't have to change it. It's still Tetris. But you go on from
but
there and you build
everything's
worlds.
complicated.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
how much does Chris sound like an old man from from 1 to 5?
About a 7.
Yeah. Back in my day spiel.
Back in my day, we had games with boards, and you moved the pieces around on them, and you pretended they did things.
in my defense, I do play chess.
Chess is a good game, though.
Yeah, so yeah, Kojima and Kim Swift could be a very good partnership. Obviously they've got to get a good studio behind them, but Microsoft's got access to so many teams now.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good thing.
I do think though, and same as I said with when it comes to Stadia, it's too early for a pure cloud game. It's too early. The technology, the infrastructure is not there.
Yeah, the technology's there. It's the infrastructure that's not
No,
there.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, the
So-
infrastructure is just not there. We
So-
don't have gigabit connection everywhere,
I have it
especially
everywhere in my
in
house.
America. Yes, you might do, But you live in one part of America. There's 300 million people in America, and
I'm not
about
worried
half
about
of them
them.
are still on the fucking modems.
I'm not worried about them.
So we just go and live all in Kit's house. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody can come sit in my driveway.
it's an interesting idea, but the infrastructure is not there yet, especially considering the majority of gamers who are going to be using that. Yeah, you've got the Japan and Korea where the infrastructure is there, but Europe, most of Europe, America, we're not all hooked up yet.
Yeah,
I'm
actually,
on
that's
50
interesting.
meg, but yeah.
Because since it's a Kojima game, it could actually help Xbox take off a bit on
Mhm.
Japan, and other countries like that.
Oh,
That's
for sure.
Because
That's fair.
yeah, it also seems like they're quite interested in the cloud offering, since, as you said, of course, the infrastructure is way more advanced over there. So
Yeah, and
it would actually work.
I understand it as a way to push their cloud, push Azure. Is it Azure, their cloud thing?
Something like that. Yeah, Microsoft Azure.
Yeah, I'm saying I thought I was making it up then, just like is it Azure or is it like Lemon? So they want to push Azure, get more people involved, interested, and of course, a game that is solely focused on Microsoft's cloud offering, Azure, would need you to have probably Game Pass. So yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, well, it's interesting, but I'm a wait and see. I think if they do, it might have some features that are cloud only, but it would have a boxed release or a digital release. So yeah, I just don't see it happening. Not same as I've said before. If we're getting cloud only games, I'm going to say 2030 onwards.
Fair enough.
I don't even have gigabit, but in my area, they're rolling out gigabit connections. They are rolling them out in my town,
Nice.
and I should have and I will have one available within the next 3 years.
Yeah, it's in my condominium complex. One building down is where they have gigabit fiber, and they just stopped rolling out across the street. So I'm waiting for whenever AT&T decides to start rolling that out again.
Yeah, the government just wants it everywhere now here in UK, so it's slowly rolling out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Kojima. So he might be working on a game, he might not be working on a game, and he might be working with Kim Swift and Microsoft, but he might not be, and also he might be in the clouds. I don't know what's happening.
That's Kojima in a nutshell, let's say.
Right?
So,
I don't know. So, why don't you pick a story now, Kai? You can introduce the story.
Yeah, we got actually a couple going on with Electronic Arts here. So I guess we should start out with the EA Motive story. There
Go
are
on,
some
then.
rumors going around that one person that we may know as Jeff Grubb has let it slip that EA Motive might actually be working on an established IP that will quote unquote make fans very happy. And he
Yeah,
did
well.
follow up later saying that we're going to see it if we are not dead first.
Yeah, but will it make the people very happy?
I mean, it is a title that I am quite fond of.
I do love Dead Space, but
Do you think they're gonna try and do like they did with Mass Effect and start going through like their classic trilogies and updating
actually,
them?
yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
Because
Yeah, that's an easy moneymaker for EA right there.
As long as they don't
I'm
put
surprised they
Dead
haven't.
Space 3, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
see, that's what I mean by are they really going to make people happy? Because obviously, due to the EA of it all, they did massively fuck up Dead Space.
Well, Gematsu was reporting that it's a revival, such as a reimagining rather than a sequel to the trilogy. So we might see like a true survival horror rather than that run and gun Icy Planet nonsense that Dead Space 3 was, which Lost Planet 3 honestly did a lot
I was
better.
gonna say that was like a Lost
here nor
Planet 3 knockoff.
Yep.
I was so disenfranchised by that launch. I was like, I got it, and I skipped it for years, and then I got into one of my moods where I wanted to play through a game series, and I did through because I'd never finished Dead Space 2, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back and play the first one, finish the second one, and go through and play the third one in succession, and it was like it was like cruising, and then you just fell off a cliff, and it was such a different game.
Yeah.
So
I've wanted to go back and replay Dead Space 1 and 2, and they don't have them on PS Now. They have 3, apparently, but not
they're
the
like,
first
please
2.
play it, please. And you're like, no.
They
I
are
played
on
them on
Game Pass.
PC. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
they hold up well. The one on PC, it holds up really well. Like, it still looks really good. It's crisp. It was very forward thinking in a lot of ways, but except for the third one, it didn't
Yeah,
exist.
but I think it makes a lot of sense for EA to bring Dead Space back. I think EA Motive has done fairly well. They've done the single player campaign on Battlefront 2, which wasn't bad by DICE standard. They
I'll give you that.
They also worked on Star Wars Squadrons, and that turned out pretty good as well.
Yeah,
So,
that was their full development title, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's a good team inside EA to try and revive Dead Space. And but interestingly, though, it might be an exciting EA play, because rumors are that, actually leaks are that we might see Dragon Age 4 as well, finally. So, because an alpha build kind of leaked on the PlayStation Store, or a listing on the PlayStation Store, so it seems like the game is already in alpha, which means it could be ready for a gameplay trailer, at least.
Yeah. Dragon Age, I'm going to hold out hopes for. I'm so worried it's going to be I think they've already said it's going to be a live service game, which...
No, actually, I mean...
Did they not? I thought they said they would...
They said earlier this year that it's going to be single player only. So...
Oh, so they... yeah, I know when they first announced it, they mentioned live service, but okay, they've gone back on that, thank fuck.
Yeah, I think if they manage to get it out next year, it could be a really great year for RPG fans, because, Elden Ring, then Starfield, and maybe Dragon Age 4 could be great.
Whatever happened to Gaia?
What?
Exactly.
That was...
Online.
No, that was the game. That was the project that EA Motive were working on for like ages.
Yeah, I think that one was probably cancelled or something.
Yeah, I know they cancelled it earlier this year, but it wasn't in development for like 6 years. And I'm just thinking that's a bit worrying. But then again, yeah, I don't know. So EA Motive, it could be interesting. I don't know if I understand what you're saying. They've made the single player part of Battlefront 2, and then they did Squadrons, but they moved to a game like Dead Space, which it's not pure horror, but it's quite different. So I do genuinely hope they get it well, and if it is Dead Space, they don't make it Dead Space 3. Please don't Dead Space 3 it.
I imagine they're probably taking notes from Capcom after the recent success of RE7 and 8, so I would not be surprised if we see a first-person Dead Space out of this.
That could be good. That could be very good.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of first person.
Yeah.
Go on, Kai. I mean, Kai, Keith.
I don't know. I just see the title here and I'm excited. I've been anxious for this thing, so I want to hear some more about it. What's going on with Battlefield 2042's Battlefield Hub? What is that? I see remastering of classic maps. Is this like where EA's in the whole remastering and bringing things back? What's going on? Who's got the dirt on this one? Anybody got the dirt?
Yeah, it seems like this is the basically third mode that was mentioned to be in development at DICE Los Angeles. And according to the leaker, Tom Anderson, who's been quite reliable on Battlefield leaks, basically they are going to remaster maps from the old Battlefield titles, so you can have like an ultimate sandbox experience where you can do Battlefield 2 tank against Battlefield 3 tank,
Ooh.
crazy stuff. Even if
Okay,
it's
I'm
not-
interested.
Yeah, even if it's not perfectly balanced, but just for
I'm
fun.
interested. I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, so I can bring in weapons and stuff from one game into the other kind of thing.
Yeah, basically you can select various weapons and vehicles from all past Battlefield titles.
Yeah,
Ah!
I mean, Call of Duty's already been experimenting that in their Warzone mode with Black Ops and Modern Warfare kind of mixing and matching there. So I'd imagine something similar can be at work with EA here.
Okay, I'm
So-
interested now.
So I can take the little bird helicopter or a scout, and I can go all the way back to the original Battlefield maps. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a limit. They can't do everything.
Yeah.
But like
But
some
I
of
do
the
want to
ones.
see 128 players on Metro and see how that's going to
Oh my god! Oh, with tanks.
and shotgun walls.
Oh,
Stack them up.
Oh,
guys,
dear
yeah.
God, here we
Like-
go. Here we go.
Look, like I was mentioning before, I think 2042 is going to be huge. I really, really do, because the last few releases that we've had for Battlefield, the Battlefield community hasn't really been that excited for. But since
Well, you were saying earlier, since the announcement of 2042,
Battlefield
been
4 is
saying-
on fire. Like
Yeah.
there are so many people playing Battlefield 4 again that's just what I've been doing. Despite all the new games that are coming out, I heard somebody go, they had to open up a few extra servers to support the demand, and I was like, no way. And I logged in, and like there are at least a dozen 64 player matches at any given time that are completely full with people waiting in queues.
Bloody hell.
And it in Battlefield 4 is like a bicycle. If you played it and you had hours in it, you pick it right back up and you go right at it. Like I even remembered like the keys for the different actions. I played a medic, like the assault class, so I was running around reviving people right off the bat, and I was just, oh my god, it was so good. So I think 2042 has the potential to bring back a ton of Battlefield fans. Yeah, so I hope they got me whenever I saw the choppers. I was like, okay, I'm back in. That was one of the things that's been missing from the past few is like I love the helicopters. Not the attack
that's the
copters.
case, because I'm a relapsed Battlefield. No, yeah, you know what I mean. I've not played Battlefield in quite a while.
Well, the last 3 launches, in all reality, have been very lackluster. So Hardline shouldn't have been a Battlefield game, in my opinion. I think it was
originally it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I think it was a fine like single player experience, but the multiplayer was extremely lacking. Battlefield 1, I think Battlefield 1 actually had a pretty good campaign. Like the stories I thought they were good. And the multiplayer was fun for about 3 hours. And then there's only so much you can do with, World War I weaponry.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for Battlefield 5. It was kind of, and those two were riddled with cheaters. Look, I get that every online game you have to deal with cheaters, but Battlefield 5 was so bad. There was like never a match you could get in that there wasn't somebody with an aimbot standing on the top of a hill just pegging everybody running across, and it just killed it. But I'm starting to get a little bit of hope. I don't want to get too much. I feel like I've been burned a few times.
It's good because it's coming back to a near modern setting after a long while, and also I think they will benefit in that Call of Duty is doing the reverse. So basically with Vanguard it's going to be World War II again, which is not exactly to everyone's taste.
Yeah. So
No.
I think, and also, the latest rumors actually, I think from just yesterday is that Vanguard is going to be basically Cold War 2.0. That's basically what it's been described like, in that it's not very unique. It's just regular Call of Duty, more or less. So
Yeah.
2042 could stand out.
I really hope it does.
As weird as it sounds for me to praise Activision Blizzard game, but I quite enjoyed Black Ops Cold War. I mean, I know I've had this sort of rule where I won't spend any money on an Activision Blizzard product. Well, at all, they don't get my money. And I've had this since Diablo 3 launched. But I'll still review one of the games and I'll be fair. And you know what? Black Ops Cold War was enjoyable.
I
It was
enjoyed
an
it.
enjoyable game. I suppose, like you say, though, if Battlefield really stands out with the different setting and all that, and whereas Call of Duty just sort of treads familiar ground, Battlefield really has got the chance to set itself above this time.
I just hope they don't fall on their face.
Yeah.
If they do it, this will be the last chance I give them.
Until the next time.
I'd say that every time. I'm horrible about it.
I know. Until the next time, Keith. Until the next time.
And then I go, I'll try it.
I know. You'll be okay.
And I blame you for this, Keith. I am installing Origin right now and linking my Xbox Game Pass to see if I have EA Play.
Fair enough.
Battlefield.
So
have my
yeah, I
game
need
right.
to play some.
It's
So
on there.
So we know there's quite a lot of interesting things coming with Battlefield. So the last topic is all about something red, the red stuff, AMD. So go on, Alessio. You can talk to us about the best ones.
The red stuff.
I mean, when it comes to these topics, I'd say we let Keith take the lead, because
Go on then.
he's the
Let
master.
Keith do it.
So it's all about AMD's new technology, which we have several videos on the other channel about it. AMD's FidelityFX Super Resolution. Now, there's a lot of, I'm not going to say misinformation on FidelityFX, but I think there's a lot of people missing the point. So it is an upscaling technology, and there's a lot of those right now in the market, and it's kind of the new Battlefield when it comes to hardware and software.
You fucker.
Well, you see, NVIDIA has their deep learning super sampling, which is great, and it works wonderfully, but it's very limited in the graphics cards that can support it. Well, Unreal Engine has a TAAU in it, which is an upscaling algorithm, but it's to that engine. AMD's developed FidelityFX Super Resolution, which is a spatial upscaler that essentially renders the game at a lower resolution. It has a very advanced edge reconstruction method to redefine the edges so that you don't get that very clear, jagged look from running at lower resolution. And it kind of tries to build the image back as close as possible to the native image. Now, I did do a good bit of testing on it and found that at its higher thresholds, you do get a sizable performance boost with minimal impact on the image. In fact, I would make the argument while playing, if you run it at ultra quality, you're probably going to have a hard time telling the difference between native and ultra qualities. And you're going to get upwards between 30 to 40% performance increase. And that's a lot of performance. But the real kick is what it can do with, or the real kick here that we're talking about is how much work it takes to be implemented. And it appears that it's not a lot of work to get it into your game. Right. There were like 7 launch titles on day 1, and a lot of the other stuff said coming soon, and Dota 2 the next day was like, I'm here, we got it. So it just goes to prove that it is very easy to implement, and it's not as easy as like hitting a toggle. So some people just say, like the developer says, it just works. But there's still some work that has to be done. You can't just turn, if you could just turn it on or inject it and it just worked, every game would just be like, whatever, we'll do it.
That's the same as everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. what one developer said is that basically, of course it's some work, but compared to many other kinds of work that they have to do during development, it's not really much. That's
Yeah.
the compared to the main.
And I talked to one of the developers or one of the engineers that's working on it, and that's kind of what he says, that it's very little. It actually takes place in the render pipeline, so that's kind of where the hand tuning that they talk about with it in the work is that it takes place in the middle of the pipeline. So you have your game and you have your target resolution, but you tick it on, and now the game renders at a lower resolution and applies like anti-aliasing, and you have to have anti-aliasing going on with it so they can have something to work with in there. And then it takes that image, adds that edge reconstruction, and then after that upscale and sharpen pass is done, then it adds your motion blur, your film grain, and all of that. So it's not amplifying those things. Those things are all still taking place at their native resolution. And then once all that's done, it adds your heads up display. So basically what you're doing, the hand tuning, is making sure that it knows where in the pipeline to sit. So you can't just go into the game and you know where to go. No, you have to do the breakdown, like the render pipe, because in the development process you have to state those. It's part of the code, and so sometimes what'll happen is if the game implements the film grain and the anti-aliasing at the same time, or if it tries to do all of those things then add anti-aliasing at the end, they have to restructure the path that it takes. So, but if it's already in that sequential order that it needs to be in, then it's very little implementation or work to put it in there. Is it perfect? No. Is it
Nothing's
good?
perfect.
Yes.
I'd say nothing's perfect, but yeah.
Yeah. So FSR. Go ahead, Alessio.
No, I think one of the biggest kind of news, at least partly news, is that Microsoft already added it to its game development kit. So it supports PC, of course, but also Xbox Series S and X, and surprisingly even Xbox One. So basically we could see FSR on an Xbox One game. So that's interesting. And
and it could help,
Yeah, it could squeeze up some extra performance even in the old console.
Yeah, and what it'll do is take those.
Only Cyberpunk had it.
You know what? I would not be surprised if we didn't see down the road because Cyberpunk does have FidelityFX cast already in the game, so it has the capability, and it uses TAA already, so it could sharpen. There's a lot to
it could really benefit the performance of it.
I don't know. I don't know about like the marketing side of things because of how heavy that game partnered with NVIDIA. So, but in case anybody's wondering, there is nothing limiting both technologies, both DLSS and FidelityFX super resolution, from existing in the same game. In fact, that game, Alessio, what is it? Necromundo that's coming out, or it's out?
Necromunda and yes, Hive Gun and also Edge of Eternity are going to have both the game soon, I think, with updates. So
so they will have they'll have both technologies in it, which is great. I think what a lot of people are worried about is, you get one, you don't get the other, and I personally think they're both very useful. I would love to see for both technologies to be available, especially if the implementation of either one is no more difficult than what everybody's saying that it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah, and also something that's interesting is that the developers of the Rift Breaker, which is one of the first game that supports FSR on PC, they basically confirmed that it will be in the Xbox version, but also they said something quite cryptic about PlayStation support. So basically, they said nothing stops us from enabling it on PS5. Whether we do it or not is a separate question that we are unable to answer as of right now. So I'm
That
not
is
quite sure.
interesting.
It sounds like PR speak. So
It does,
but-
doesn't it?
Very much PR speak.
Yep.
and but it's interesting. I mean, because AMD and Microsoft especially have boasted a lot that Xbox is the only console with the full, RDNA2 architecture. So I don't know. I mean, of course, FSR does not require RDNA2 full capabilities to work. But I guess it will be interesting to see whether this is going to work on PS5 or not.
I hope so. I mean, if anything, what it can do, especially, so I asked the question to one of the engineers was, could a game be developed with FSR in mind? And I was actually, and admittedly, we were talking about PC stuff at first, and what I was referring to was kind of consoles. Like, could you develop it with FSR in mind so that you boost like the bitmap images so that the textures would scale better? In the sense that you could build the game with the understanding that it's going to have a final target much higher than the render target, so that you could increase the visual effects. So the add more effects. You see, from like ray tracing to particle effects to alpha effects. You see what I mean? Like, make the game more and more, but you are able to build it to have a lower target render resolution, but a very high grade upscaled. And he said it's possible, but he didn't see the point in making multiple assets. And that wasn't what it wasn't like could they build it to take advantage of it? But if it's on a console, I mean, especially if it's a console exclusive, then it's going to be developed for a single platform. So they could take advantage of that to, Sony could do that since they have the less powerful hardware.
But
Sony does a good job of cranking out all of the little bits and bobs you can get from their consoles. So I could
Very
see
much
them.
so.
Yeah, I could see their first party developers being able to do something like that.
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to follow up. I do have kind of an extra bonus bullet point in our podcast today, in that there were some news from two big Sony first party studios this week. One is that Insomniac is hiring for a multiplayer project. So with PV melee combat apparently. But
Ratchet and Clank and
I really
again?
hope it's Resistance, because that game needs to be
to
revived.
be
Oh,
fair.
that would be so good.
Yeah.
It's totally underrated. And so I hope that's Resistance. And also, interestingly, it seems like Guerrilla is also working on a separate game, at least since early 2018. That's not Horizon. So since it's been over 3 years, it could be not that far off that we know about it. And actually, the game director on this unannounced project worked on Killzone 2, which makes me hopeful that Killzone is coming back too. So hopefully both games are coming back. And it seems like Sony is putting more stock into multiplayer games going forward. With Naughty Dog is working on one, which is basically the evolution of Factions, and Insomniac is working on one, and maybe Horizon 2. Guerrilla, the Horizon developers, and Killzone.
Yay!
So yeah, I think it's interesting because back in the PlayStation 3 days, they used to do a lot of even experimentation with multiplayer. There was MAG, if you remember.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yep.
Yes.
So I think it's interesting. It's also those multiplayer games could maybe launch on PC very nearly the console release date, because if they want to maximize the potential of having a large fan base with crossplay, it could make sense.
Yeah. I think there's a lot that could happen. There's so much. Technology's advancing, and nobody mentioned ray tracing.
I did.
Oh, shut up.
Big
Yeah,
answer.
I don't think I've got anything to add.
I'm good,
Yeah,
guys.
there's so much.
Kai,
Okay.
any thoughts?
I've really got nothing. The
You're
only thing I can think
fired.
of is if with the rumors that Godfall is making its way to PS4, I'm curious if maybe some of that FidelityFX or DLSS can make its way into that version,
FSR.
at least in terms of
Godfall.
optimization.
You know what? FSR going into that console could make a good point. That would make it be able to run a lot better when people, since people are like, well, how come it's able to run on there? And they said it needed to be on the next gen hardware to run. Well, maybe it'll come
Yeah,
out and
but
it'll look like a marshmallow. So
I'm just thinking it's
I-
Godfall.
I feel really
Nobody's
bad
gonna-
for whoever buys it, but
Yeah, nobody's going to play it. It's
Mhm.
Godfall. It's dead.
Ugh.
Also, someone pointed out that we have an abundance of games with Godfall, Redfall, Starfall. I don't know, lots
Right.
of games.
There's
All
so
right.
many. To be fair, I might do a topic on that. The reusing of certain names. Like you see, like Rebirth or Reborn or
Right.
Legends. It's like
Shadows.
Legends. It's like that's so overused. But yeah, right. So yeah, I think that's everything. Unless has anybody got anything else to add?
I'm good,
I
guys.
don't know. Maybe we
Hmm.
can do a quick what you're playing thing
Uh, do I have to?
if you are playing anything.
Yeah, I'm playing. I'm playing Red Solstice 2, which the review will be out very short. Either on or around when this goes live, or it may be a day or two early. I don't know when I can be asked. It's not a bad game. It tries to be XCOM but real time, and it's just not managing it. And then I suppose weirdly, the other game I'm playing is a Doctor Who game on the mobile phone.
Oh,
Uh,
that's unfortunate.
Because I have a Z Fold 2, so I can play big screen games now. Or bigger screen. Don't you look at me like that, Keith.
Still a mobile game.
Mobile.
Well, actually, it's on the PC. It was actually a PC game first. It's just been
Mm-mm-mm.
ported over. It's I can't remember which one it is. Doctor Who and I think it's Doctor Who and the Edge of Time.
Look, I've got my sonic screwdriver. Zzz.
Doctor Who: The Lonely Assassins. That's what it is.
Well, what is Kai
Never
playing?
heard of that one. I'm doing Monster Hunter Stories 2, doing that one on PC, which is very strange for me, considering I do almost everything else on PlayStation, but
Very
it's
nice.
the one Monster Hunter spinoff that doesn't make its way onto PlayStation. And I actually played a Doki Doki Literature Club last night for the first time, and that's quite a trip.
Nice. No Super Mario Brothers 2 then.
Nope.
Pete, are you playing anything?
Battlefield 4 and Infamous Second Son.
Mm. Nice.
Taking advantage of my PlayStation Now subscription.
Fair enough. How about you, Alessio?
Well, actually, I'm finishing up Mass Effect 3 Legendary, and other than that, I'm also playing a bit of Battlefront 2 with a few friends. It's
very
pretty
nice.
fun when you play it with a few people. It's just a shame that EA kind of ruined it with the microtransactions thing, because I think it's a good game
Mhm.
at its core. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
it is. It is. It's
hopefully there
underrated.
will be, yeah.
The
hopefully
game
there will
itself.
be- yeah. Hopefully there will be, I think, in the next 2 to 3 years, probably a new Battlefront game as well. That's I think
Would be
it's
nice.
coming.
As long as they remember the lessons they've learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right. So I think that's everything from us. So thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Bye,
Because we should have
guys.
seen you last. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Then again, we saw you last week twice during E3, which was an event.
Never happened. Yeah.
Yeah, an event.
It was a thing. It happened, and then it was over,
Yeah.
and everybody forgot about it.
I know. So yeah, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Speaking of events,